So obviously just looking back to the Saturn defeat, disappointing day, disappointing performance.
Yeah, it was. We were below par, didn't really start the game well, and disappointed with how we were, particularly in that first half of football. But we showed a spirit and a will to keep going till the end in the second half. Obviously missed a penalty, which had that gone in, it could have been a different outcome. But look, we know that we were under par that day, and this week's just been about reflecting and having some honest conversations internally, looking at accountability of performance levels for everybody, and the players have been great this week. So hopefully we can put in a better performance at the weekend.
Of course, in that game, obviously we lost Dylan Crowe early on, but thankfully we should have Thierry back for this weekend.
Yeah, and that's just where we seem to be. Not just at the minute, it's just the way it's felt probably all season, to be honest, where you're kind of close to getting one or two back, but then you lose one or two to, illness or suspension or injury. So listen, that's difficult. We've been contending with that all season. We've not really spoke about it too much because we're not ones for making excuses, but yeah, losing Dylan is a massive blow for the lad first and foremost, and then obviously for us as well, because we have had our struggles there in terms of consistency, and we were kind of hoping that getting him back, that we maybe settle down and become a little bit more consistent in that position. But obviously now we're like back to the drawing board a little bit, so hopefully it's a speedy recovery for him.
Of course, one of the other positives ahead of this weekend is getting Josh Amami back from suspension.
Yeah, I think if the season ends now, he's probably in our top 2 or 3 performers for the season, is Josh. So he's a big player for us. And not only did we have Josh missing on Saturday at Sutton, but we had Will Harris unavailable from the start as well due to illness. He only trained for an hour on the Friday on the way down. He'd been ill, and when you take him and obviously Josh out the team, they're our 2 top goal scorers, and any team's going to miss them. So yeah, having both of them back available for the weekend is a massive positive for us.
Of course, obviously recent run of results has been tricky. Goals have been hard to come by as well.
Well, yeah, goals are always hard to come by in the National League because teams are generally pretty well organised, and it's not easy to score. So yeah, we obviously we're well aware that we've not been scoring as freely as of late as we were doing 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I'd be more concerned if we weren't getting into the right areas, if we weren't creating opportunities. And to be fair, we should have scored in the last 2. We've obviously missing a couple of penalties. So, look, we're obviously concerned that we've not been capitalising on those moments, but I'd be even more concerned if we weren't creating those moments. And hopefully we can create a few more at the weekend, and people will be on the end to convert them.
Of course, obviously looking ahead to Solihull, they've certainly hit form at a difficult time for us.
Yeah, but listen, that's football. It's only 2 or 3 weeks ago we won 6 in a row, and everybody's saying how well we're doing, and obviously now we're in a run of form where we've lost some games. We've played some very good teams in that run. I think we're not the first team that's kind of come out of the FA Cup and whose league form has suffered as a result of that. I think there's a couple of games in that run where we should have took maximum points, the Hartlepool one being one of them for sure, and we just haven't done. So yeah, obviously we're going into the game not in the type of form we'd like, and Solihull are quite the opposite. They've had a really good run of results. That's kind of coincided with obviously Chris going in there, and probably getting a little bit more out of the players that were in the building when he arrived at the club, and they've had reasonable investment to go and bring in 2 or 3 really good players. So we know it's going to be a difficult game, but as always we go into it respectful of the opposition, aware of what the opposition's strengths and weaknesses are, but ultimately focusing on ourselves. And if we perform, then we know that we can be competitive with any team in this league, and we're certainly going to need to perform better on Saturday if we're going to get a win.
Thank you.